Hello, welcome to Granada Reports Live with the latest across the northwest.
Hello, on the programme this evening.
First blood of the match went to Roger Hunt.
Farewell, Sir Roger. Tributes to the Liverpool favourite Roger Hunt, World Cup winner and incredible goal scorer who's died at the age of 83.
He's such an hero. He's like a demigod at Anfield. You know, the Kop adored him. Everyone in the stadium adored him. You know, he was our leading goal scorer.
She'd had her offer on a house accepted on the day she was killed. The Arena inquiry hears how Kelly Brewster's life was cut short when she was at her happiest.
Why getting active post-pandemic is key to cutting the number of falls. Tips on getting us back on our feet.
The friendly neighbourhood Spider-Man who lifted our spirits in lockdown. Now he's the latest of our Pride of Britain finalists.
And some complete nonsense. We're at Knowsley Hall to find out how it inspired Edward Lear to write The Owl and the Pussycat. First, he was second to no one in importance to the history of Liverpool Football Club. That much is clear. The words of Jurgen Klopp paying tribute to Roger Hunt, who's died at the age of 83.
He was also known as Sir Roger by Liverpool fans, although he was never officially knighted. Many thought he should have been as a key member of England's 1966 World Cup winning side, who played in every game, scoring 3 times.
Yeah, he scored 285 goals for Liverpool in 492 appearances before signing for Bolton.
Tonight, we're live at Anfield for reaction.
But first, David Chisnell reports on the loss of another member of football's golden era.
Hunt, goal. Great goal.
Roger Hunt was the humble hero who was a legend for both club and country. A World Cup winner with England in 1966.
Hunt, on a goal.
He remains Liverpool's record goal scorer in the league. After joining the club in 1958, the forward from Glasby in Cheshire spent 11 years at Anfield. Playing under the great Bill Shankly, his 285 goals helped to transform the club from a Division 2 team to English champions in 64 and FA Cup winners in 65.
I always wanted to play at Wembley. We won, which was a fantastic thing for all of us. And the Queen was there. She gave us a medal, and it was fantastic. And, you know, we had a great time.
Well, a year later and after another championship title, Roger was back in red at Wembley, only this time for his country. At the 1966 World Cup, he scored 3 goals and played in all 6 of England's games, including the final.
Winning the World Cup, I think that was probably the best thing in my career. You're glad it's over, because there's a good chance that we wouldn't win it. But when we won it, it was fantastic.
Hunt is onside.
After 492 appearances for Liverpool, Roger left to join Bolton in 1969.
I'm from Vernon's Pools.
3 years later, he hung up his boots and went from playing to predicting as part of the 3-man Pools panel forecasting the football results.
Mr. Roger Hunt.
In the year 2000, the World Cup winner was reunited with 4 of his England teammates to be awarded an MBE by the Queen. While he was never knighted by Her Majesty, he was by the Kop. Many at Liverpool felt Sir Roger's achievements in the game deserved the highest of royal recognition, a sentiment shared by his old teammate, the late Ian St John, who took time out from accepting an award in 2017 to praise his former strike partner.
I see other people in the game, some of them quite rightly getting knighthoods and various things and whatever, and this man has not got anything. And he's been sensational for all the time he's played football. He is a legend.
Well, sadly, Roger never did get that honour and died today at the age of 83. Leading the tributes has been Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp, who said he comes second to no one in his importance in the history of Liverpool FC. So it is Sir Roger who we will remember, honour and pay tribute to over the coming days.
This has been one of the saddest days ever. Roger Hunt was just an icon in the 60s. Him and Ian St John terrorised defences, and it was wonderful. Standing on the Kop, idolising Roger Hunt, as I did, was just truly amazing.
He was such an hero. He's like a demigod at Anfield. You know, the Kop adored him. Everyone in the stadium adored him. You know, he was as good off the pitch as he was on the pitch. He was a true gentleman.
While Sir Roger Hunt was a wonderfully modest man, his achievements were anything but. And despite his death, the World Cup winner and Liverpool legend will forever be remembered.
Yeah, clearly so. Well loved and respected at Liverpool. Well, let's bring in our correspondent, Rachel Townsend, who's at Anfield now. And Rachel, just listening to some of the tributes today, he really was idolised by both fans and players.
Absolutely, Gamal. It is difficult to put into words just how much Roger Hunt meant to this football club. There has been a huge outpouring of grief this afternoon and just so many tributes. We can bring you just a few of them now. Jamie Carragher has described him as one of the greatest goal scorers our club has ever seen. He said Sir Roger, along with other legends from the 60s, made LFC the club it is today. Former striker Ian Rush said, Roger was someone I would always look up to. He was a fantastic goal scorer and a true gentleman on and off the pitch. And tributes have come from beyond Liverpool too. Manchester United have tweeted, Roger was a great rival, but an even greater player and person. They say we extend our deepest sympathies to the friends and families of Roger Hunt. Well, we are now joined by David Fairclough, who joined Liverpool just a few years after Roger left. Now, you followed in the footsteps of Roger Hunt. What did that mean to you personally?
It was massive. I grew up not far from here, playing football in the streets, recreating Roger Hunt's goals. He was my biggest hero, a real idol. And later on, I was so proud to think that I shared time with him. He became a friend, and I could call him, by his first name. It was like, it was really boyhood stuff. It was amazing. And they say sometimes, you shouldn't meet your heroes, but Roger Hunt, if he was a hero of yours, you could not be impressed, couldn't be any more impressed by him. He was such a gentleman. He was unassuming, and he had humility, and he was just a really great guy.
And that's it exactly, isn't it? We've heard so much about him being this true gentleman. Was that your experience of him? Very much so.
I mean, he played football that way. He never complained. He got on with the game. He did his job. He was a great goal scorer. And when you met him, he was always immaculate, quietly spoken, very polite, friendly. He couldn't be nicer. I don't think there's a bad word to be said about Roger Hunt.
And just finally, David, how will you remember him?
Oh, I remember all his goals. The moments that the games he won for Liverpool, the moments he created. He was a huge part of the growth of Liverpool throughout the 60s. And the Kop christened him Sir Roger Hunt. And I think that's how we'll always remember him, Sir Roger Hunt.
OK, well, David, we appreciate your time today, because I know it has been a difficult day for you too. Liverpool are, of course, in Porto tonight for their Champions League tie. And there is no doubt that Roger Hunt will be in the thoughts and minds of everybody involved in that match.
Wonderful reflections on Roger Hunt. Rachel, thank you.
Well, next night, the inquiry into the arena bombing has heard how police officers revived a young woman 3 times before being told to stop, as there was nothing more they could do.
Kelly Brewster, who was 32, was injured alongside her sister Claire and her niece Holly in the terror attack.
The inquiry also heard that in the run-up to that night, she was the happiest she'd ever been in life.
She just that day had an offer accepted on a house with her fiancé and was ready to settle down to start a family.
Hers was one of 3 more stories to be heard today.
Our correspondent, Amy Welch, has been following today's evidence.
Kelly Brewster had a zest for life, and she fought for that life until the very end.
Kelly's family describe her as a funny, intelligent, very opinionated woman who knew what she wanted and had a thirst for life.
That morning, she'd had an offer accepted on a new home with her partner, Ian, and she was at the concert with her niece, Holly, and sister, Claire.
Claire Booth recalls a huge yellow flash from behind her. Claire recalls being in the impossible position of needing to care for both her child, Holly, and her sister, Kelly, in the city room.
The inquiry heard how 2 police officers, one of them off duty, gave Kelly CPR, and of their disappointment when a paramedic told them to stop.
I just remember feeling him on my shoulder and telling me to stop.
As far as we were concerned, we got her back 3 times just to be told to leave her alone. It just didn't seem right or feel right.
What did you do when you were told to stop?
I left the room for a minute. Got a bit upset because I just wanted to help her.
The defibrillator they wanted to use had no pads, but Patrick Ennis told the inquiry it wouldn't have made any difference and stood by his decision.
Although this was unfortunately a black and white decision, it wasn't one that any of us take lightly, least of all myself.
Kelly's family thanked all those who tried to help.
I've been told that she was the happiest she had ever been. That doesn't make her death any easier to bear for those left behind.
Chloe Rutherford and Liam Curry were childhood sweethearts whose love story had barely begun.
Chloe and Liam were made for each other, just completely at their best when they were together.
The teenagers met at a cricket club in South Shields. He was sporty and she loved to sing, and Chloe had been given the concert tickets as a Christmas present. They walked into the arena foyer together just seconds before the blast, and both died almost instantly.
Chloe and Liam came into the world with nothing at all, but have left it with nothing but love.
Chloe and Liam's relationship was very special. After a short period of time together, their greatest wish was that they would never be separated. They weren't. That doesn't make it any easier for the families and friends.
Inseparable in life and now inseparable in death. Chloe and Liam had so much love in their hearts, and they, like all the 22, had so much love left to give. Amy Welch, ITV News.
In other news today, the search is continuing for a teenage boy thought to have gone wild camping who's not been seen for 3 days. Levin Sopwith Nicholson, who's 14, went missing from Ulverston in South Lakeland on Saturday evening. Police say they are becoming increasingly concerned for his safety. He's described as slim, 5'8" tall, with ginger curly hair.
A driver who knocked down and killed a 15-year-old cyclist could face a charge of gross negligence manslaughter after a coroner stopped the inquest. Dylan Crossy died after being knocked off his bike in Preston 5 years ago. The driver was cleared of dangerous driving at a previous trial, but new evidence at the inquest could prompt fresh charges. His family are welcoming the latest developments.
5 years is a long time to get any kind of answers. I've definitely got hope, and it's definitely given me my fire back, because after last week and hearing things, especially the first 3 days, it was heartbreaking to hear what I heard in the coroner's inquest, and it's given me hope that, you know, people are going to listen now and people are going to help me.
Well, next tonight, most of us will have been spending a lot more time at home since the pandemic hit. But health experts say it's now vital that older people get back to being physically active as soon as possible.
Yeah, trips and falls are the leading cause of accidental death as people get older. Treatment costs the NHS in excess of £2.3 billion a year.
And it's thought that being confined indoors has left people feeling frailer and weaker than they were before.
Tonight, we're going to meet the personal trainer who focuses on fitness for the over 50s. But before that, Anna Yosef has been to meet those trying to build back their strength and confidence.
We're going to start with our warm-up, getting our body nice and warm. Let's start by lifting those heels.
Eileen had a nasty fall at home during lockdown. The 75-year-old hit her head, landed on her hip and ended up in hospital. Her injuries have healed, but it's knocked her confidence.
I am a bit frightened of stairs, going upstairs, coming downstairs. When I'm out walking, going down curbs, on the roadway, I don't like it. It has affected my confidence a lot.
Eileen's been coming to these strength and balance classes for years. They were suspended because of COVID. She thinks becoming less active made her more susceptible to a fall.
When they said the classes were starting, I knew I had to come back because it would help. It does help you. It's helped a lot.
Heather's had a couple of falls. The worst was when she tripped in her garden and fell backwards onto a rockery. She says using a technique she'd been taught in class stopped her from injuring herself further.
My husband couldn't get me up because I've got problems with my back and my shoulders. But I remembered what we do here. I managed him to get me some cushions. I got onto my side, managed to get on my knees, and then I got up that way, which we've been taught here. So thankfully that was really good.
The sessions are delivered by Wigan Council's Be Well service.
And then we're going to go round to the back. We all are.
Come on. Participants previously had to be referred by their GP, but because of the effects of lockdown, they're now open to anyone.
2/3 of people over 50 say they're now less physically active than they were before the pandemic. About half fear spending so much time at home has resulted in a loss of strength and mobility. Experts believe decreasing physical fitness could lead to an increase in falls amongst older people.
So strength and balance exercise that we do is kind of key to helping people improve their balance and reduce their risk of fall. So groups like these shutting down for the period hasn't allowed that to happen. So now we're back up and running. Hopefully we can get more people in, improving their balance and reducing their risk of falls.
Phil runs a charity in Stretford that supplies mobility equipment. He's seen a steep increase in inquiries over the summer. Many are from family members worried about an older relative's mobility.
Because they're not getting out and about, not using the muscles more, obviously your muscles go weaker over the time, which has an effect on the whole of your body. I think our service is essential for helping people getting back to normality, giving us the well-being and obviously the independence that everyone deserves.
James has come in to get a scooter for his aunt, who's recovering from a heart attack and COVID.
Once we get her a scooter today, she's going to be able to get out a lot more. She's going to be able to socialise with her friends. She has friends that live 100 yards away and she can't socialise with them. But with the help of this, brilliant.
Back in Wigan, and the group have enjoyed an hour of fitness and fun. They're building up their strength and confidence, one step at a time. Anna Joseph, ITV News.
Well, earlier, personal trainer Rosemary Malice popped into the studio to talk to us about the workouts she does with the over 50s. I started by asking her what had inspired her to quit her job at 60 and start out as a gym instructor.
One time I was at the gym. Now, I don't go to the gym, but I'm one of these people that paid out lots of money and then never go, so it's really expensive. But anyway, there was an old chap there, and I say old chap, probably younger than I am now, having an induction, and he said to the girl, "Oh, it's all right for you young people, but you don't understand the specific aches and pains that us older people have." And it was like a sort of light bulb moment, and I thought, I was approaching 60 at the time, and I thought, that's it. If I retrain as a personal trainer, I've got a ready-made market there. And it just sort of went from there.
And you've been doing online courses throughout the course of the pandemic?
Yes, I started just after lockdown, when people got in touch with me and said, "Oh, Rosemary, we can't go to the gym anymore and we can't do such and such." First of all, I started live streaming on Facebook, and then I switched on to YouTube, so I have a YouTube channel now. It's all aimed at people over 50, but more specifically sort of 60s and 70s.
What type of exercise should somebody be doing? Because I guess for a lot of people, they associate exercising with the gym, but that's not always the case, is it?
Walking is one of the best exercises that you can do. And even if you can't walk very far, if you walk and time yourself and say you can only do a minute, then the next day do a minute and 1 minute 15 seconds, and the next day 1 minute and a half, and you can build up gradually. People tend to think, "Oh, I can't do it," and so they don't do it, and then it gets worse, so they're not able to do it. And I always say to my clients that if something is hard, if an exercise or any physical activity is hard, it means you need to do it more, not less.
And on that point of building up in practice, are there any moves you can demonstrate to us that somebody could try at home, for example?
Well, I mean, they're very small moves. I'm not advocating sort of press-ups and squats, but if you just immobilise your ankles and to get a bit of... This helps with your mobilisation of your ankles, and it helps with balance because you're slightly unbalanced at one point. So if you just do a heel dig like that, just lifting up, because you need that for walking, and then at the same time, just do a bicep curl, but you've got to do the opposite arm and leg Well done. The opposite arm and leg. So that makes you think, because people quite happily doing this, they're quite happily doing this. And I'll say opposite arm and leg, and they'll go, oh, and then do it. So something like this, I've got a little routine that I do, and it's quite fun for people to do, and people can do that as a standalone exercise or as part of a workout.
Rosemary, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for being so inspiring as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm loving that. I think you could have put a bit more effort into yours.
A little bit more, it's a smidgen more. Thanks, Lucy.
I've got those tips written down, by the way, for me. Well, from one inspiration to another, it's time to meet the second of our finalists for the Pride of Britain Fundraiser of the Year award. He is Jason Baird, who you may know as Stockport Spider-Man.
Yeah, I remember him well. Jason has been entertaining families there since the first lockdown by taking to the streets dressed as the superhero.
Yeah, he soon started setting himself challenges like running 3 marathons in 24 hours and has raised more than £70,000 for NHS charities and youth suicide prevention charity Papyrus. Zoe Muldoon went to meet him.
How many times did you do a flip
though? 3. 3, and they caught it like that every time. At the start of lockdown, my friend Andrew, he decided to dress up in a Spider-Man outfit because we was currently doing Zoom classes for my martial arts kids. He dressed up as Spider-Man. All the kids went crazy about it. I messaged and said, I want to get my own suit. I reckon I'm going to do this as well. Let's try and keep going around Stockport dressed as Spider-Man. Kind of went from just going around cheering people up on the streets to then setting these personal crazy challenges that we've been doing to raise as much money as possible for charity. I set up a Just Giving page for the NHS. Set a target of £5,000, and within a couple of days we had an anonymous donation of £25,000 come through. From there we then ended up, by the end of the first lockdown, raising over £50,000 for the NHS, and we've now, through 2021, we've been raising money for Papyrus, which is the prevention of youth suicide, and up to now we've raised £22,000 for them as well. I had a friend right at the start of the first lockdown that sadly took his own life within like 2 weeks of lockdown happening. I believe it cost £5 for them to take a call from someone in distress, so hopefully we've helped save a good number of lives with what we've been doing.
He's more than a friend, he's my bro now. I call him my Spidey bro. He doesn't like to say, oh, it's just me. Never has. Every interview, it's always been me and my good friend Andrew, the team. But no, he's an amazing dude, very inspirational.
Can't stop thinking about him, so it's like one of them, you want to just push him and lift him up and just go with it, you know. Yeah, just want him to succeed and do well.
What's been the biggest challenge doing this for the last sort of 18 months?
My biggest challenge personally was the 3 marathons in 24 hours. Because I didn't sleep for that one, it was a bit of a test. So I ran it roughly 80 miles within 24 hours. Massive thank you everyone, hopefully I'll do this, fingers crossed, and I'll see you soon. I did set the challenge of trying to run 4 marathons, but it got to around about 3 o'clock in the morning, and yeah, my body wouldn't work, so I decided to drop it to the 3, but I'd say that was the hardest one. Hundreds and thousands of people have said that we brightened their lockdown up, just seeing us about, young and old. So it was a little bit tough some days, but as soon as you put the suit on and you see how much joy and happiness that it's been bringing people, then it was all worth it.
And what does it mean to you to be nominated for a Pride of Britain Fundraiser of the Year award?
Feels extremely surreal. Just the joy alone of seeing people happy through what we're doing is enough for us. So to just be nominated for one is a massive achievement, and to be in the final 4 is just, yeah, when I had the phone call, I was kind of blown away a little bit, and still in a little bit of shock, but what will be, and like I say, we're very privileged to be where we are now.
Now, it's one of the nation's favourite poems, but did you know that The Owl and the Pussycat was written here in the Northwest?
Yeah, it was in the 1830s when Edward Lear was working as an artist at one of our grandest stately homes, Knowsley Hall. To amuse himself and the children and grandchildren of Lord Derby, he also wrote rhymes and jokes.
That's when he came up with The Owl and the Pussycat, a poem that makes no sense whatsoever.
Well, to celebrate Knowsley's role in it all, there's going to be a sculpture trail of, you've guessed it, an owl and a pussycat. And artists need to come forward to decorate them. Our correspondent Andy Bonner has more.
The owl and the pussycat went to sea in a beautiful pea green boat. They took some honey and plenty of money wrapped up in a £5 note.
It may be mainly nonsensical, but after 150 years, the owl and the pussycat is still popular with children today.
To celebrate their creation here at Knowsley Hall, the characters will soon form a trail around the borough. Artist Edward Lear was living here working for the 13th Earl of Derby when the family found his hidden talent.
They sort of noticed he wasn't appearing so much at meals and thought, where is he? And discovered he spent most of his time in the nursery, where he was entertaining the children with his nonsense rhymes. And so it's a brilliant idea to bring the Owl and the Pussycat around the borough for 2022.
It is certainly a famous poem, but do people realise it was written here?
I don't think they do, and I think that once people do get to know about it, like myself, you know, I've Googled the poem, I think I've learned the first half of the poem, and I think, you know, it just opens up so much opportunity for Knowsley, you know, for people to discover what we're all about.
These are the original watercolours by Edward Lear that were painted by him when he stayed here as a young man in the 1830s.
Inside the stately home there is a treasured collection of Lear's artwork, and there are some prints of the book of nonsense the poem appeared in.
Why is it still popular? Why do children still like hearing these stories?
I think it's this mixture of the human and the animal, but he obviously had a way of making children and adults just laugh. He tickled people's sense of humour, but they're short and pithy and to the point, and they're absurd, and people love the sense of the absurd.
Artists, professional and amateur, are invited to submit designs to be painted on the characters. The trail will form part of the area's year as Borough of Culture next summer.
And hand in hand on the edge of the sand, they dance by the light of the moon.
Andy Bonner, ITV News, Knowsley Hall.
How lovely. We love a bit of nonsense on this programme. Now the weather, here's Kerry.
He's chucking it down. Might as well get on with them jobs, Gary.
Wipes in the bin, though. Oh, good lad.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Hello, a very good evening to you. Showers merging to longer spells of rain across the northwest today. Having said that, there was a clearance at 2 o'clock towards the west coast of the Isle of Man. A fantastic shot by Mary Davies. Thanks for sharing. But some of us had to stick with those moodier skies for longer. And overall, for the rest of the week, actually into the weekend, staying unsettled with rain or showers never too far away. Cooler than average, especially as we head into tomorrow, and often quite windy. Having said that, tomorrow, despite a risk of a shower, a bit brighter than today, but then low pressure really does take hold from Thursday into Friday. The continuation of the risk of showers or rain, and even into the weekend, we're keeping an eye on this feature, could actually bring some quite stormy conditions maybe by the time we reach Sunday. In the meantime, the bulk of the showery rain has pushed eastwards now, but it leaves us with a mix for the rest of the night of clear spells and showers. One or two of those showers on the heavy side could form in clusters into the early hours, always quite breezy and definitely feeling quite chilly, especially away from towns and cities, but a little bit more in the way of brightness compared to today as we head into tomorrow morning, 7:08 and 6:53 as we head into Wednesday. So tomorrow will be brighter, breezy and quite showery, and again those showers could be heavy. In between though, where we get the sunny spells, it will feel a little bit better, but temperatures are now struggling to get to the average. So the average is around 16 or 17. We'll be struggling to get higher than 14 tomorrow. The skies will clear towards the nighttime period, so another cool night, and then as we head into Thursday, showers or longer spells of rain, a tad warmer perhaps to average, and then unsettled once more from Thursday.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
He's doing us now.
Top fella.
Now, you might have noticed that the world is going mad about Bond, James Bond.
I think you've got the job.
I'm not sure about that.
Pretty good. When it comes to premieres and all things Bond, nobody does it better than our entertainment correspondent, Caroline Whitmore, right from her very earliest interview with the wonderful Daniel Craig. Although I think Daniel Craig might have a bit of a threat in the studio.
But not stirred. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye.